Welcome to the REES Community. This is a show all about innovation, best practice, promising practice in the area of harm prevention. I'm Mary Lobson, founder of REES. Join me as we chat across sectors and industries about shifting culture, making impact, and creating change.
So it is great to be here. I'm Mary Lobson, founder and CEO of REES Community. Welcome to the podcast. I am very excited to have Dan Galpern with me today. Dan is the CEO of DanceOne. And I'm going to let you fill in for the folks listening and watching, Dan. What is DanceOne if people haven't heard of it?
Well, first of all, Mary, thank you for having me. Thank you for what you're doing. I'm excited for us to be able to spend some time together today. So DanceOne is the largest competitive and educational dance platform for children between the ages of 8 and 18 in the world. We reach over 500,000 kids every year that attend our competitions and conventions. The dancers that come to our events are the best dancers coming out of the best studios in the country. We have over 10,000 dance studios that are our partners. And we are really privileged to be able to see that level of artistic athletic excellence every day. So on a good weekend in the spring, we'll have over 40 events going on simultaneously around the country. And we get to watch, some of the world's next best dancers grow up, and our artists and teachers get to educate them and help them grow into the best version of themselves.
That's awesome. I'm sure people listening to us or watching might be going, why are REES and DanceOne in conversation together today? And so I think we'll be in early January when this goes out in the world. And I know that we are really thrilled to announce our partnership with DanceOne and we'll talk more about that, but to join Keep Kids Safe in the initiative that you have ongoing, that really is intending to do that, keep kids safe. And so reporting will be available really across the entire DanceOne ecosystem starting January 2026. So that is really exciting. And I'm interested in having you talk about and share, what is Keep Kids Safe? What is that initiative? How did it start? Where did it come from? Tell us a bit about it.
First of all, we are thrilled at the partnership too, and really grateful for what REES has and you have built, because it is a critical element to keeping kids, keeping dancers, and frankly, keeping all of us a little bit safer. And so the Keep Kids Safe initiative started when we created DanceOne, which was 2 years ago through the acquisition of two large competitive and educational dance businesses. I have spent over 25 years outside of work. My single focus has been helping children in the foster care system in the United States. I've been on the board and chairman of the board for many years of an organization called Children's Rights. And so for me, being able to give kids a chance, keep kids who are in the child welfare system safe from harm, that has been something which it's been a life's work for me. And frankly, one of the things I'm most proud of in terms of how I've invested the short time I get to be on this planet, like the rest of us. So when we were looking at, and when DanceOne was created, this ability to really put the systems and processes in place to do the most important things, to build a culture of success, a culture of excellence, and a culture of caring. And all of those start at the top. And so what we have been doing for years now is building what we call the Keep Kids Safe initiative, which isn't just about what we'll talk about today, but it also includes healthy mind, healthy body, understanding rest and recovery, because being safety is mental safety, physical safety. It's also understanding how to take care of yourself and educating parents and each other on how we can be the best investors in the future of these incredible kids. But part of that is making sure that kids are safe from harm. And so really doing the work for us has been putting in training programs for our team, having a dedicated HR leadership program in place, which neither of the businesses had prior to us creating DanceOne, really creating mandatory training for everybody. We partnered with another terrific organization, Darkness to Light, and we created a specific training program to help everybody who works at DanceOne, and everyone is required, whether they are loading a truck or whether they are they are an artist at an event teaching, that they get trained in what to look for children that may be at risk for predatory behavior and other behavior that is unwanted and unwarranted and that we should be protecting against. And then also teaching people what to do. If you see something, say something. How do we do our part in that as well? And so those have been things that have been going on for years now. I'm really proud of the way our team has embraced it. And frankly, it's something which is why when we got a chance to meet and talk about what you're doing, one of the critical elements of all of these programs is making sure that people feel safe to talk about things. People feel safe to record things that may have happened to them, and a method to do that so that we can all do our part. And so the Keep Kids Safe initiative has each of those pieces in it. And for us, that's why the partnership with REES made so much sense.
Yeah, thank you. I as well mentioned when we met earlier on that I'm a dance mom. I had kids, who did musical theater and jazz and tap and was involved in that world for many, many years when my kids were younger. And I remember my oldest son, he started when he was 4. So, and he went through well into his almost adult years. And I remember such a high degree of trust within that system. When probably they were young, probably in some ways too young, leaving them and just knowing that they were with their dance teachers, and it was a well-respected environment, a high culture of trust that existed within those spaces. But I think we know that, like any spaces, harm occurs, whether it's kids going to school or in sports or in environments like this. And we've seen historically where harm has happened in spaces and in this industry. And I think for me, had opportunities to be connected directly with some of the folks that have been impacted by previous situations. And it really stresses, as you just said, the need for a comprehensive approach. It's not just do training or just create a safe space to come forward or making sure that only the dance teachers knows. It's really thinking holistically about the well-being of the folks coming through your doors, the kids coming through your doors at all different ages and stages and abilities, because DanceOne really embraces every level of someone wanting to come into the dance world, and being able to meet them with really, as you say, a comprehensive strategy to help promote safety and really foster that culture change that really until now it's been slow and it's been spotty broadly across sectors. It's hard change to make, and so it's really exciting to see the leadership that DanceOne is having through the Keep Kids Safe initiative. I'm wondering, do you when you think about this and you think about it holistically within DanceOne, can you speak about kind of larger opportunities within the entire industry and sector? And that's maybe big picture thinking, but I've seen some of your interviews, and DanceOne is not just the United States, it's Canada, There's Mexico, UK, like, there's an expansiveness and an emerging global reach that you are starting to have, and it's going to continue to grow. So how do you envision kind of keep kids safe in the big opportunity that exists for it? Tell me a little bit about how you think of that.
So first of all, our core mission at DanceOne is to be a foundational element for dancers, all dancers, to get training, to learn and grow, to have a safe space to be an artist. And that does not have a border.
Exactly.
So for us, we look at that as our core mission, right? And then that mission is global. So we want to make sure that people know that when they're interacting with DanceOne, and then more importantly, we're happy to share with any other. We are open source. This isn't about us versus somebody else. We are all in this together to create an environment that keeps kids safe, that creates a world-class environment for artists to grow. But we're very much focused on how we can make sure that we are not just doing the work today, but that we are constantly evolving, constantly thinking about the impacts. We have a huge global presence. We have a very large international reach with our media, right? We have massive, the number one social media, consumed social media content in the world, outside of what's called illicit content, is dance. And so we want to be sure that we're creating best practices, thoughtfulness, helping parents. I have two teenage daughters, one of whom is a dancer. And there are tough decisions. We're all learning the world we're living in today, this connected world, for the first time. There are incredible opportunities and there are risks. And we don't want everyone to live in fear. We don't want people to not be able to live their lives fully. But we want people to be informed. We want people to know that there are resources, and we want to make sure that there are the protections in place, especially when you're at a dance, if you're doing anything involving DanceOne, to minimize the risks as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, I saw one of the recent interviews you did. You and Derek Huff did an interview about Ovation, which is a really exciting opportunity that's coming. And I wrote it down because it really struck me. And you referred to the new generation of dancers. And, I think that's what you're alluding to some degree in what you just said. Like the world has evolved. It exists in a very different way. And thinking of the Keep Kids Safe initiative specifically, years ago, there wasn't that training that exists. There wasn't those spaces that existed to easily come forward about harm that may occur. There wasn't a mechanism. And in many cases, there was more of a, let's keep this quiet, or how do we, kind of turn a blind eye to it, or not really want to look at those things. And so, we in, again, not just in dance, we work in sport, we work in higher ed, we work in lots of different industries and sectors. And overall, there's a willingness to really think about that culture shift and that change, and really creating spaces that, embrace technology, that allow, in this case, dancers to go online and create a record and send that to you, or to be able to store that record and hold it. So can you talk maybe a little bit more about kind of that new generation of dancers, and what might need to be different moving forward, or some of the things to think about?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would say to you, when people think about human evolution, or the word evolution, right? Evolution is about progress. Evolution is about change. And some of that change is hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you look back at where you were, there's a sense of how is that acceptable, right? How is that possible? Why did those things occur? Myself, absolutely. And I could not be more fortunate than to stand on the shoulders and be shoulder to shoulder with the team at DanceOne. There are incredible human beings who I get to work with. And what I would tell you is we're thinking about that all the time. We have meetings. We have, every 2 weeks we're getting together to think and talk about what are the areas that are going to impact this next generation of dancers and how can we get in front of those? And that impact on some respects are new opportunities, to learn and grow, training that they can get, again, healthy mind, healthy body. And there's also the impact of what are the things that we can do to make this environment safer, to make this environment more free from concern, so that people can express themselves artistically and not worry about any of those things while they're with us. And then more importantly, and this goes to what you were talking about before, what I love and why we are so excited to be partnering with REES and with you is there are so many examples in human history and recent history and dance history where things have occurred and there was a presumption because a person did not report something immediately for whatever reasons they chose not to do that because they didn't understand it, because they were ashamed, because they were afraid, because they didn't even know what was going on. And as a result, there was a fear and a presumption that if later they were to say something, that they wouldn't be believed, that there wouldn't be what's called a contemporaneous, writing or recollection of what happened that would give them more credibility. And I would love us to live in a world where if somebody has the courage to speak about something that's occurred to them, that the presumption is what we all want to believe it is, which is that they're telling the truth, that this happened. But the human condition and what we have seen society do is that there is a condition where people don't assume that. And so therefore there's a fear. And so having a platform like REES, for every community, including the dance community, that allows somebody to anonymously write down something for their record only and be able to keep that and then make their own decision about whether they report, whether it was in fact something that was inappropriate, and that if they do report, most importantly, that the concept that they are making this up, or the concept that didn't really happen, or the concept that they're not being truthful, right? That those are taken off the table because they waited to have a discussion about it. To me, that is critical human advancement and evolution of technology fitting an important role. And that's why we're excited about it, because we not only do we want it for everybody in our world, but we also want to do it for the other reason, which is we want people out there. We live in a world with lots of other human beings. Some of them have goals that do not align with ours, have values that don't align with ours, and we have to all live on this blue rock together. And that doesn't mean we have to allow them the ability to do harm. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't have very easy ways to say this is unacceptable, that this is what our community mandates and requires. And to the extent that you choose actively or passively to behave in a way that's not acceptable, you will be held accountable. It's very important to us. And when I say us, I mean all of us, not just you and me. Everybody at DanceOne, and I would say, most, if not everyone in the dance community today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We use a phrase that healing is the healing journey is not linear. It's not a straight line for people, and reporting or the decision to come forward can be a very complex process for people. So I appreciate you mentioning, and that come January, when this is out in the world, folks within the DanceOne community will have the ability to come to the DanceOne website, click a link, go to a dedicated DanceOne reporting platform that allows them to create a record, store that record, hold it. They maybe don't know what they want to do with it. Maybe they just want to write that down for themselves. Maybe at some future time they want to share that with DanceOne, but really giving agency and options to folks, to the dancers, to everyone within your ecosystem about how they choose to bring that forward, or if they do. The other feature that will be available to people that I want to just touch on is one that we call repeat perpetrator identification. And that is a feature will allow an individual within the DanceOne community to go create an entry. If someone else goes in and creates a similar entry, those will be matched, and leadership at DanceOne will be notified. Talk to me a little bit about, we know why we built that feature. We can see in other spaces in sports and higher ed and other spaces that we work the value of that. And I'd like to hear from you kind of what does a feature like that mean for DanceOne or the dance community?
Yeah, I think it's, first of all, I think it's, for society, it is a critical element, because we all have a responsibility to take care of each other. And more than anyone else, we have a responsibility to take care of our kids. And I don't mean my kids or your kids. I mean our kids, all of them, everywhere, wherever they're from, whatever their background is, whatever country they're from, whatever they look like, whether they're believe in everything we believe in or not, all of them. We have a responsibility. And so what we loved about that feature is that it does give organizations that are using this platform an early warning sign that there's a potential issue. Because if you have 2 or 3 or 4 instances that may have nothing to do with each other and may have happened in different places, and they're all referencing the same person, that should raise a flag that says something is going on here and we need to watch this. And we're not about, at DanceOne, we want to do the work. And the work is about a constant set of behaviors every day. And we want to know, we want to have information. One of the people on the team, I'm sure at some point you'll spend more time with everyone. I have a lot of sayings, so everybody knows my saying. One of my most important sayings, or my favorite sayings, is if you see something, say something. And I don't just mean about this. I mean in life, in business. Like, we're here to be active and help each other. We make each other better by sharing our best information and being bold, not being afraid. And so what I like about this feature is it takes the fear out of it, because to the extent that you have 1 or 2, 2 or 3 or more instances that refer to the same individual, we are alerted to that. And that, to me, is very valuable in hopefully early detection, but more importantly, preventing further harm. Which, that is where we should all be focused as a society, because if we do that, then that next child that may be at risk is protected.
Yeah, it is. It's a meaningful opportunity for me when I think of, again, we work in lots of different spaces, and this particular space, it's such a culture of trust and such a culture of caring and really built on relationships. And so, it is broad strokes, or broadly speaking, it is a really small percentage of, sometimes the language of bad actors that exist in the system. They're few and far between, but the ability to shine a light on that, like you say, can really help to just to minimize the potential for harm and identify those risks at an earlier point. Are there other pieces of the Keep Kids Safe initiative that are yet to unfold? And I know you're continuously thinking about this, and I don't know if there are, and you can speak to that. It's maybe a blindside question, but just are there, I've been doing this work for 30 plus years, and the conversations evolved. Again, we were not talking about online reporting 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and now we're launching across the industry. Are there other things or pieces that you're thinking about that would be helpful, either for at DanceOne or broadly across the industry?
So what I'd start off, usually you saw me sort of smile, is we're always thinking about what we're doing. The work will never be done. And I mean that not in a sense of hopelessness, but in a sense of, again, evolution of what we're doing to meet the needs that exist at that time. So I also, we don't publicize. This is the first time I've sort of done a deep dive into the Keep Kids Safe initiative, because this is not a check the box thing for DanceOne, not for me, and not for anyone that's involved. We have people outside of our organization who have come to be part of the Keep Kids Safe initiative. We have people who want to join our board of advisors. Anybody who wants to join, they should reach out to our company. We want to keep kids safe. So let's just start there. And from that, yes, we have more measures that will be coming to protect information, to protect the use of media and data, because we're the wonderful part of the dance community. One of the great parts is it is, as I mentioned, it's one of the most viewed content on social media. There are more viral dances. There's so many good applications in that regard, but there's also a lot of media that's out there, and so we're focusing on that as one area that where we can do more. And then there's a couple of others behind that, right? In terms of from how to protect kids. We're spending a considerable amount of time on rest and recovery and on nutrition, because part of keeping kids safe and keeping ourselves safe is to educate our dancers and their families on what are the things that we're learning about the importance of rest, right? Training is amazing. And if you've been to any of our events, and I know you have, and if you've seen any of our dancers, we have the best. You want to be inspired by the future, come to a DanceOne event and see excellence, exceptionalism at scale. And these are the best dancers on the planet, and we're privileged to have them. But they also need to learn from the last generation of kids who went through our system, who are now professional dancers, who are now world-class executives, who are teaching the importance of getting a good night's sleep, the importance of eating good food, the importance of taking a rest day, those things. Yeah. So I want to give you a sense of, yes, it's about protection of information, it's protection of body and things of that nature, but it's also, I would call it protection of the spirit and protection of the mind.
I love just the holistic approach, and really looking at the whole ecosystem that's a part of DanceOne, and that your dancers showing up, your artists showing up, really thinking about their whole well-being as a person, not just as it relates to them showing up to be dancing or
and I want to be very clear on this. All we did was call a meeting, right? When I say us, when I came to run the business and said this is important, I thought it was important, and so we put a meeting together. And then a lot of incredibly talented, world-class dance professionals who work at DanceOne, and some who are just affiliated with DanceOne, came to that meeting. And so I get to sit and listen. Most of what you heard today, most of what we're doing, it's coming from them. And to me, and the them is expanding. Yeah. And so that to me is extremely nourishing and enriching in terms of the community we're building, because anyone can say they care or show up once. But to show up week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, to constantly be pushing that forward, which is what this group is doing, I'm just one member of it, so I want to be really clear.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is wherever I am, there's a whole group of people right now who are sitting and spending some of their time thinking about this, so we can keep pushing it forward, because it is part of the evolution of DanceOne, and we do think it's part of the evolution of building the next generation of world-class dancers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The community aspect. And even when I initially met, with you, it was with you, but then meeting other folks on your team, and then having opportunity to meet with some of the members of the advisory committee as well. It's been clear that, this is, there's great passion and commitment from a leadership perspective, which is so vital in trying to make change, or trying to create some of that culture shift. But it very much is embedded within your whole of organization, which is another critical consideration around actually making change. It can't be held by one individual or a couple individuals. You really have to find those ways to embed that thinking of how do we do more, how do we do better, how can we.
Well, this is such a critical, like, a culture is built from the top. Any organization, that's where cultures are created. And so, but that's not where they live.
No.
Right. And so, I'm really fortunate to work with, a whole host of incredibly talented people who are not just passionate about dance and passionate about producing world-class events and producing world-class dancers, but are also passionate about this initiative and helping be the leader, be the light, right? And not because, by the way, we're happy if somebody else can do it better. Great. We'll learn from them. This is not about, this isn't a competition. We would love to, you're a great example. You had something that was much better. We were doing a whole host of things that had changed around security at our events and how we were making sure every room, the bands, but also security and but you came with an idea that, immediately when we met, I saw it. When we presented it to the broader group, it was almost instantaneous, and no one said, "I can't believe we didn't think about that." Everybody said that is a great addition to what we're doing, and it's that culture of we can be better. We can be better. That's what, frankly, that's what I have enjoyed so much about being able to be part of DanceOne, because when you have a whole group of people doing that in every area, and whether it's literally what is the next t-shirt going to look like, and can we make that fantastic, so if someone were to buy that, they feel terrific about that brand that they're affiliating with. Is it about that that event, or can we upgrade our technology systems to make them easier for people? But it's also this, and I would say this is part of the business of dance, that just like the business of entertainment and the business of lots of other areas, where, yes, historically, people didn't spend enough time on it until it was too late. And that is something which we're not naive. We know the world we all live in. We wish it was better every day than it is. But that doesn't absolve us of a responsibility to do everything we can.
Yeah. You come from private equity. You're a lawyer. I'm curious. True. Yes, and I remember when I saw the private equity, the acquisition and the pairing a couple of years ago, and thought, oh, that's really interesting. What is this going to look like? And having had a little bit of time to spend with you and the team and the culture you're creating, it's been really it's exciting and it's encouraging to see. And you talk about the business of dance and our hold those those global aspirations to really create change in lots of different ways in dance. But I'm wondering, have there been any particular challenges that you would identify in stepping into this role? That's just kind of a curious question
Of
for
course.
me, a little bit different.
First of all, I mean, you went, so I talked about this. We were fortunate enough. We had some of our largest dance studio partners all got together and we did a Q&A session. And I love those because I'm not a politician. I'm not going to give an answer that is convenient. I tell people, if you ask a question and I don't answer it directly, ask it again until I do. And if I can't answer it, I'll say I can't answer it, right? But one of the areas was always, obviously they're always, I call it poke the private equity person, because there's a general fear of private equity. By the way, that's a ubiquitous fear, and it's well earned, because there's a lot of examples of business people or private equity people coming into a business or a family-run cottage industry and doing some real harm by not treating the business the way it could or should be, and by making very bad decisions that have short-term benefits and long-term ramifications. So I am in no way would I say that there isn't a reason for that. Just as I would say, if you were to walk down a dark alley at night, right? I live in New York City, right? You should have some concern that you are at risk, right? Now, I've lived on the island of Manhattan for 31 years. And I've been fortunate thus far that I don't think about it that way anymore, because that's not my experience. But I know that it's fair. What I've said to people is this, and the thing so the challenge I think initially was people use what I call the C word, which is they said, "Oh, DanceOne is corporate. You're becoming corporate." And my response to that is, that's me. Right. We have 200 people who are full time. We have almost 1,400 people who are part time. Most of those people have worked for us for somewhere between 5 years and 30. So they were here long before I was here. They will be here long after anyone else is here. We'll have the next generation that'll do the same. And so really, it's about like, hey, what is this? What are these new people going to do to mess this all up? And what I say, and so that was something which I did have to acknowledge is a fair fear. There's nothing wrong for people to fear that way. But there's a difference between having a fear of something that's unknown and then getting to know another human being or watch what people are doing and accept them for what they actually are. Because if you do that, then you now are accepting that human being and saying, okay, they may be like this thing that bothers me, or I may be afraid of this, or I never have been to this place and I have this preconceived notion about those human beings. But once you spend time with a person, judge that person on that person.
Absolutely.
And so over time, what I've been really grateful for is how welcoming the community has been. And so it was harder than I thought at the beginning. You have a tremendous amount of smart, capable people in the dance industry. And at this point, though, honestly, I could not be happier to be a part of it and to feel welcome. But I do think it's fair for people to say, "Hey, let's watch and see what's happening here." So what we've realized is what we've done is we've put a foundational technology layer in place, right, at our company. We've added a whole bunch of new resources at the company. We've added an HR department. We've added real reporting. We've added the Keep Kids Safe initiative, right? So as long as we're doing those things, and that's where we're spending our time, I have a supreme confidence in the dance community to say, because the dance community is a welcoming one. We called the company DanceOne for a reason. And the reason why is because there is no them, there's only us. We are all part of this community. Everybody's welcome, all shapes, all sizes, all backgrounds. We have scholarship programs. We're helping kids go to college, whether you want to be a lifelong competitive dancer, a lifelong professional dancer, or you want to go out in the world and use the incredible skills that you're going to get by learning how to dance, the neuroplasticity you're going to get, the ability to get up on a stage, all of those incredible things that you're going to learn. That is not for me or anyone at DanceOne to determine what the people that we are privileged enough to work with and train do. What we're responsible to do is create the best environment for them to become that version of themselves. And as long as everybody looks at each other with that lens, then it's honestly, it's becoming such a fun place to be. And that's why I think you get a sense, I know you spend time with the team, that everyone is really locked arms and is enjoying the process of, to use the word again, the evolution of DanceOne.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate that. I want to just pick up on one of the things you said, kind of as a heading into our closing, and I guess wondering, you've talked about this kind of the foundational pieces that you have been able to put in place. There's a lot of variation in terms of dance studios, professional, small, like just they look so many different ways. For someone listening to this, thinking, wow, we want to take steps to enhance safety within our organization or as a studio owner, would there be some kind of initial starting points that you would help them think about?
Absolutely. I mean, so everybody, anytime, all the time. Everything that we're doing is absolutely open source for everybody. So if anybody wants to figure out a way to do something better and we can help them do that because of something we've done, terrific. By the way, we'll probably learn something too. So that's my first answer. The second one is, look, we brought back the DanceOne Summit to get dance teachers together. It used to be called the Dance Teacher Summit. It's now called the DanceOne Summit. And we had over 1,200 dance studios and dance teachers come together in August last year. We're doing it again this year. And we have classes where, forget about us teaching, we're all teaching and learning from each other best practices. So, we're all on this journey together and nobody has the answer. This is the most important thing I think that I hope that people take from today, which is we at DanceOne are on a journey. We don't know exactly what we need to be doing. No one does.
Yeah.
No one does. But if we're doing the work day in, day out, we're taking those steps forward. We're meeting with people like you, Mary, and saying, hey, this is a great piece of software that's going to add to our process. Meeting with people like Darkness to Light and say, we need to build a program to help train our team on it, and on and on and on. That's how we create the culture in our company and environment in the dance community that will best serve that next generation of dancers. And by the way, it will also create a better generation of human beings that we got to impact. And that is actually, so for me, I would say no one should ever be shy in reaching out to anyone at DanceOne, myself included. If they think that there's something that we're working on that they could learn from or use, we're happy to share it.
That's great. Well, I think that is a perfect place to end things on. So I just want to thank you so much for making time, for sharing your story with me today, and talking about keeping kids safe, keep kids safe as an initiative, and the good work that you're doing at DanceOne. And we really are proud to be partnered with you and to be part of your efforts to keep kids safe. So thank you so much.
Well, right back at you. We are, it is inspiring to work with people who are making it their life's work to help protect kids and create that environment. And we couldn't do this without you. So, we're doing our work. You're doing your work.
Yeah.
Let's keep pushing each other, right?
Absolutely.
Let's keep evolving. But I could not let you. It's a privilege to be a partners, but we have a lot of work to do in front of us, and I'm excited to do that together.
Absolutely. And I think whether it's the REES community or the DanceOne community, the core of all of this really is community and working together. So thank you again. I really appreciate it. So again, I'm Mary Lobson signing off for the REES community. Have a great day.